welcome to our 114th episode, In Search of Awesome, Facebook Live. It's 8 o'clock. I've waited like 1 or 2 minutes. We got so much to do tonight. Gavin Salsbery, and many of you know who he is. He is, and the conversation tonight is leading the social digital salon. Him and I have been preparing for this interview for a couple of weeks or so, and I'm excited about it. I think if it was mine to say, I'd say leading, innovating, creating, establish, building. I mean, you're going to see that he's on a platform now that I think. I mean, I learned boatloads for just preparing on the interview. He's a Summit shareholder. He is the Summit's West Coast team leader, as well as the co-founder, Urban Eve Salon and Boutique in Medina, Minnesota. He'll tell you more about that. But before we bring him on, just some stats to just, he's earned the right. He did a startup in 2016. That's his first year. 565 on the first year, baby. So that's a big boom. And then he skyrockets to 728 last year in 217. He's trending 915 as we speak. I bet him a Starbucks Grande Toffee Nut Latte. He could, I think, crack a mill if he stays on fire. I mean, his average service day is running at $2,200 a day. His salon's average ticket is $77. If you look at the haircut price at $39, that's almost a 2.0 sticker. Referrals, 711, rebooking 54%. Look at that RTS, man. 44%. I mean, that's like big boom to the 10th power. His story in a nutshell, 75. His mother enters the, he grew up in the salon family business. Jane Salsbery, I just love her. He is first U.S. Summit Salon, 1993. And he graduates from Indiana University. Load media company, kind of specializes in media, Insight Cable, professional photographer, and then he finds us in 2003. So I know this guy before he's rich and terribly happy and famous and all that stuff. And then does his launch of Urban Eve in 2015. What else can I tell you about him before we bring him on? I think he's taking social media from a salon owner perspective, or should I say a Summit salon owner perspective, to a whole new heights. And both of his salon's Facebook page and Urban Eve page is Urban Eve Medina. Facebook salon's page is running at currently 2,745 likes. Instagram is 1,334. 70% of his guests that come into the salon are on his platforms. 75+% of the salon's referral are, the genesis of that is social media. And then these are just some analytical stacks that he's running at about 551 views anytime he's posting on a video on IG. 24, I mean, this guy just tracks, right? 24 likes per post, 281 Instagram story views when he goes there. And whenever he's playing around on Facebook, 711 Facebook views as well. So I'm going to bring him in, and we're going to begin the conversation. And he's here tonight. I'm going to bring it. First of all, give it up for Gavin, please.
Thanks, Michael.
Oh, nice. You can see him, and you can see all the comments coming in, Gav. Everyone's saying hi to you. So I've been excited about the interview for a long time. So thanks for hanging out. So let's jump right in. We've got the PowerPoint here, and you can see this here. This kind of sets a context. Tell us what that's about.
Thank you, Michael. I've watched. I don't know if I haven't watched 114 of them, but I've seen quite a few of them. So it's awesome to be here. Yeah, these were just some of the things that I wanted to have a conversation about. Financial goals. I was a startup salon, so quickly, Urban Eve. If you were to Google and do some research, there's 2 locations in Texas. That started from a relationship as me, the Summit business consultant, helping one of our clients. And through that long-term relationship, a couple of Starbucks mornings, lunches, dinners, they said, what about one up in Minnesota? And I didn't have any intention of doing that, but my wife heard about it. And it was my wife's really her initiative of saying, let's do this. So I do have to give a huge shout out to Jennifer and Jason Culverhouse. They really put Urban Eve on the map in Texas. And then what I had to do was when we brought it to Minnesota, I was the new kid on the block. I was new to the market, and so tonight I thought it might be helpful to try to relate with some of you that are out there watching. Some of the things that I was scared to death about financially. We had about $300,000, all in. So obviously the goals, the sales goals, the reality of the finances were, weighing heavily on my mind. I didn't know my marketplace that well, so I had to really get to know. We have some fantastic salons in Minnesota, fantastic. And on the west side of the Twin Cities, I mean, there are some great top 200, fastest growing salon today. The first Veda salon in the country, Jute, is 3 miles from me. So, I was scared, and I think I've told you, when I get scared, I fear that failure just drives me. So
it does. He says that he what drives his success is he's got an enormous fear of failure. So he makes that work well.
Yeah, and then brand integration. Okay, how do you take a new business, new kid on the block, new company, and how do you weave it into like the everyday, thoughts and the livelihood and the life of the community around me? Team collaboration. I just, if we spend an hour just on, why is it working, I'm going to give just shout out after shout out on the team, how that all is really coming together. And then the last thing is, I think, the name of the game, and that's new guest acquisition. Find a new people.
Put this up while you're talking so that they can see what you're pointing to. So go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah, so new guest acquisition. We were a new salon. We had 2 hairstylists that had a business, my wife and another stylist. But beyond that, every other stylist, we were a level 1 salon. We had all brand new. Shout out to PCI. We had all just brand new stylists. So new client acquisition was a big deal,
Yeah.
So
this next slide that I want you to really speak to is you got like 5 or 6 bullet points under social media. So give us, in essence, what is that?
Yeah, I put social media assistant director. For us, it's critical. I'm only one person. I can only do so much. I'm on the road. I'm consulting. I'm a lot of times out on the West Coast. The time delay, and I needed help. So one of the things that I've done, and I've done in other salons that I've consulted, is we design a position. And so a social media assistant director, we really kind of used one of our Summit templates and built a position for it with compensation, with goals, because I'm only one person. I can't be the only one.
So who is this in your salon company that does that?
Coral Simmer.
All right, and I know Coral.
Yeah, Coral. Yeah. Yep. So Coral, and I interviewed. I put it out on our private Facebook page. Right. I really said, hey, we're looking for a social media assistant. I made the announcement at the staff meeting, but then I put the criteria in the post on the private page, and I had a couple of people that were interested. Right. So I interviewed them all. I gave, to me, if at this day and age, if you have a mobile device and you have an IG platform and a Facebook platform, you're qualified.
Yeah, you're a prospect.
Yeah, you're a prospect. So I interviewed them all, and we brought in, and I think it's played a big role of having that key, Coral there to help.
Nice.
Help
so
drive
you've got somebody in there, and then you're talking about 1/3 of your ad budget dedicated to boosting. What's that?
Yeah, really being intentional with knowing your budgets first off, and then breaking apart those budgets. Like most Summit salons, we have the welcome packets. We have the referral cards. We do interior signage. We're spending money, but I know I've got to keep at least 1/3 that I've got to pour back into social media. So I think that's just a good maybe rule of thumb as a minimum.
And then 40 photos to shoot, and Facebook private page, pick gallery, 15 plus posts per platform. 4 Instagram stories. It sounds like those are like your guidelines on how, like, when you post, that's what you follow.
Yeah, it's just it's the doing. It's the doing of. I think we've got to. One of the key things I want to make sure that everybody really hears loud and clear tonight is the leadership aspect. When you've got a salon company, who's going to lead that social media? That charge.
And when you and I were talking about this whole social digital leadership, I think we stumbled on this whole idea of handicaps. I want you to talk about what that analogy is because it's huge.
Yeah. So a handicap. I mean, I think of golf, even though I'm not a good golfer. Randy could tell you that. But in the game of golf, they're called handicaps. You know, you have a different score. It's really you trying to level the playing field. And when I look at like what were my weaknesses or handicaps, I was a new brand. You know, nobody knew me, and I don't think you have to be a new salon in town to be a new brand. I know that from just being out in the world. You could be in business 20 years and you're still really not known in the community. Staff skill, you know, I didn't have a seasoned staff like I said earlier. I didn't have a bunch of busy stylists that already had followings and they could get referrals. And I had a new team, and so I looked at from the skill and development level, I was handicapped. And then competitive marketplace, like I shared with you, there's just a lot of great salons. And then I had very little in sales. I think, you know, what I estimated that very first month when I put the projection together, I think I could count on about $15,000 or $16,000 in revenue that first month. That's from my wife and another stylist. Well, our break even was $50,000. So there was a gap of $35,000 in a month. That's a nice gap. So that's when I think of sales and finance, and I'd already had 300 in. I mean, I wasn't about to just, you know, I went in with it with the goal of never putting another dollar in, and so far we've achieved that.
And what I love about this is because it all came he's saying social, digital, and the handicaps, as you and I were talking about it, that in spite of a salon owner's handicap, and the salon owner should be resonating big time, social media levels the playing field.
Oh my God.
I mean, once upon a time, when you had a handicap, you had to kind of like learn how do you navigate this? But you're going, no. If you know what you're doing with social, we're going to get into your best practices tonight. You will, in a nanosecond, level that playing field. And what I just love about it is you've got proof. I mean, look at this. That first year, 565, second year, 728, and you're trending just this side of $1 million. I don't see startups with no brand recognition, you know, handicap, you know, new staff, competitive competition in marketplace, and underfinanced. In a nanosecond, you leveled the playing field. You eliminated those handicaps. So I want to move on to this graphic here because it's big, and I want you to talk about if you're going to be a leader in anything, you need to be an innovator, and you're using this metaphor. What is that?
Well, I got to look to you, Mr. Mentor. You were the first one when we were training the new consulting class. I don't know if that was, I think it was this year, 2018's class.
Yes.
You brought this up, and whatever you were speaking to, using this as a example of what this meant, it resonated with me. So I think it's probably, I'm just going to talk about social media. You know, innovators, to me, those are people that are trial and error. They're out there on the front edge. They are building wings as they fly. They're, you know, really just learning at a pace that for many people feels very uncomfortable. But to them, it becomes just how they do it. And they're innovating. They're discovering. They're failing. That's
what Gavin is. So he's saying, if you take 100% of the salon owners, you know, given this a context, 2.5% of them are pioneers. They're out hunting, gathering, looking for the next idea. They're not waiting because a lot of what he's doing, you can't Google. You have to literally go out and innovate. So that's 2.5%, and then the rest are from early adopters, and it sounds like those are the people that kind of wait for guys like you, and then the early majority, late majority, and then laggers. So do you have anything else you want to say about this before we pivot to the next slide?
Well, maybe for just clarity, I think, and you might want to chime in here, but when I think of what we're going to spend a little bit of time on, it, like targeting and really new client acquisition, I would say today what I see is if I don't know how to boost, if I don't know how to target, if I don't really, you and Luke have talked about your muse?
Yes.
You know, like to me, the salon has a core group of muses.
Right.
And if I'm not able to go find those muses via the technology of Facebook and Instagram by spending money, targeting specific areas, interests, characteristics, behaviors. If I don't know how to do that, I think you're probably getting near the back end of the late majority.
Yeah.
And could even be, we blink and in 6 more months to a year, you're now a laggard. So, that's just, this to me can resonate in a lot of aspects of
Right.
of anything that we're doing.
And
in social media.
and I mean, I love this next slide because you're using this to raise this consciousness in your people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this now has become a coaching and mentoring tool that you use to lead not only people in your salon company, but also the people that you coach and mentor as a consultant.
Yeah. If you remember, Michael, when we were in Pasadena and at that summit back in February, I think, February or March, and it just that day, it just got to me because I had heard up to that day this complaining from owners. My people won't get involved in social media. They don't post. How do I get them to do photo shoots? And I hear this just tone that honestly just makes me tired.
Right.
And I was hearing it that day from some of the attendees at Summit. And I had to stand up, if you remember, and I said, wait a minute. It starts with the owner. It starts with the leader of the social media. If the leader's not willing to be an innovator or an early adapter, right, then you've got to find somebody in the organization to do that. And today, if I put my Summit consulting hat on, the salons that are struggling with social media, it's because there's no leadership. The leader is still pointing to the staff, you need to do this, more of this, and why aren't you doing this? But if you hold the mirror up and you look at the salon's posts, the company's post, it's funny because the company wants, the salon owner or the company wants the stylist to post once a day, a couple times a day. Then I do this. I'll go and literally start in May and go May all the way to June 1st. And some of these same salons that are, upset with their stylist and their team, they had 3 posts in the month of May.
Right.
How can you even think of trying to call out your team? So I think just when it comes to social media, there needs to be a leader. There needs to be someone that's willing to really set the
those things. And
bar.
if you own the salon, lead your damn salon. And if you don't know how to lead in social, this is why we're having the conversation tonight. All right, we've got some more time left, and I want to get into your best practices because this, what he's about to show you, I think is just huge. So in here, the kind of the setup is the audience. You're talking about your best practice is know your audience, know your groups, know your muses, if you will, targeting characteristics, interest and address. And I'm going to ask you to go so you can see what he's doing. He's now airplayed his mobile device so he can take you on where he's going to take you. And it looks like you're taking us to your Facebook page, huh?
Yeah, to the Urban Eve Facebook page. Before I do a few tapping and get into some really cool stuff, I do want to set it up this way that, before I can go try to attract and acquire new guests, I don't want to just miss this piece. I need to know who I'm attracting. And when I say I need to know who I'm attracting, I think it's in the name of marketing, it's called Psychographics. I need to know what their interests are, what do they do, what do they like to do they ride horses, do they drink wine, what's their net worth, how much income do they bring in, what is their age. I mean, in today's world, in the name of big data, and we live in the world of big data, we now can go and really specifically, if we know who we're looking for, seek it, and you'll find it. And I think if you know what you're seeking, you're raising the probability that you're going to see new client acquisition walking in the door. So I think you don't want to miss that step before you just, tonight, if some of the owners that are listening, and I know stylists, my team does boosting as well. They're doing some of the things I'm going to show you tonight on their own pages. But before you just get into, hey, let's go spend some money and try to find some new clients or, target some people, I think you need to really step back and really look at this from who am I going to try to attract? Because that's a pretty big question in today's world.
So where are you taking us? What do you want to show us?
So I want to just show you one of the things would be if I just go to one of our posts, and I'm just going to pick a really one of these hair posts. Let's just say it's There's one in particular I'm liking a lot right here.
All right.
Okay. And I think, you know what, one of the things I look at is what type of organic reach has it had so far. So I can look and see, I posted this yesterday evening. It's had 237 people,
Right.
okay, so far. So many times I'll let these kind of go organic for a day or two,
Right.
just to see how they work. But once I start to then look at data, which ones organically they popped. It's kind of like in the name of television production, they do pilots. This is like a pilot program. I can find the posts that this one has 300, this one has 200, this one has 500. Boom. Wow, this one has 625. I know right then that the organic reach has already.
So you're looking, this is a number for those owners and managers that he's really pointing to something that he's calling reach.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're looking for here's a 255 reach.
Yeah, if we just kind of look at, here's
Yeah.
a 365.
All right,
So see how that one's already, that's so far as a higher, it's got more reach. Let's just do a few more. Here's 265. Here's a 484. I'm going to use this one for an example.
All right, so what you're
Look at
saying
that.
is anytime you get a reach that pop beyond your, let's say your
Average.
base, you're saying, I'm going to boost that.
Yep.
Boy, I hope you guys heard that one. All right, so go ahead and show us, show them what you showed me, because you freaked me out.
So this is where I really have, it's just fun as can be. It's like you have your own production television broadcast company. So I know the image, I trust it. You can see from the reach. I want to boost it, but I've got to look at who am I going to boost it to? And one of the things I wanted to share with you guys is you can set up your audiences. So I don't know if you can see that, but
They can.
I've got a core base that I built, and I'm going to show you what I mean by built, but I've got a subgroup that I can target, run an ad, and focus with a core base. I've got people who like my page. Now, this is what Facebook gives you. Facebook gives you these generic ones, these three right here. But I go further than that. I have preloaded. I've got, if I just want to do west suburbs, if I want to do just something really specific to hair.
Go back to the page you were just on, the click that you were just on, because first of all, you hit core base, and then you said you wanted to add something new to something that you've already, it's almost like you've created your own menu.
Yeah. My menu actually is going to be right here.
See all 13.
So I just want to quickly show you what are some of these other ones. So I've got prom hair. I've got actually two of them. They're probably, it might be a little different because I've got a couple of different high schools.
Okay.
So I've got a prom hair loaded. So if this image was an updo, and I really wanted to focus, it was prom season coming up, I wouldn't have to take the time to build the boost and select the age range, the interest. I've already done that, and I'm going to show you what that is. But I've got prom, I've got a home base, I have a boutique. So when I have clothing stuff and jewelry and accessories, I know I sometimes don't want to focus on my hair because it's not a hair pick. I'm going to go to just the core boutique. I've got even some of my individual stylists.
And you created this.
I created all of this.
So all of this is kind of like organically evolved since you've had your salon, and so that's what they're seeing here. Okay, so now you're gonna target something. What are you gonna target?
Yep. So let's just think out loud in a moment. That's the hair pick. You know, you think about who would respond to this.
Let's say it's a high school.
Okay, so let's just say it is. We're gonna hit the high school. So I'm gonna go to add new. Do you want me to go back there?
Yeah, go back to add new, which
Add
is
new,
right here.
Yep. I'm gonna
Hit
add new.
Watch this, you guys.
And knowing your marketplace is critical. So I can then.
So we're at my house now. So he's changing it to go to where he wants it to go. Watch how he navigates.
So I'm gonna head over to the west suburbs.
And you're like swiping right to find where you want to target.
Yep.
And I love this little. It's almost like this looks like the bullseye. The bombs away.
Yep. So oftentimes I'm working in about a 7-mile radius. Just so you know, I would recommend the same thing for all of you. 5 to 7 miles, unless you're in a metro area, it might come down to a mile or 2 miles. But in my market, this is really my core base. Now, I don't want to wow you, but I can tell you, I know this market. I live in this market. I know there's probably about 265,000 people in this circle. So sometimes I might do generic marketing in the base and just the whole, but back to Michael's example of what if this was just for a high school prom hair, updos, whoop-de-doos. I'm then gonna zoom in.
He zoomed in with his fingers and watch what he's doing. He found a high school, you guys.
Oh, SpaghettiOs. What's that? Wayzata High School sits right there. Now, Wayzata is the largest high school in the state of Minnesota, populace-wise. So that, to me, might make sense. If I'm going to focus on the updos for prom, I'm going to stick right here. So it's a 1 mile radius. The high school is right
what I love about this, Gav, is it's right in the center. I mean, it's bullseye.
Yep.
So whatever you're going to be boosting, it's going to go inside of this radius.
Mm-hmm. And there's times, Michael, that I have stylists that I've got Jess that lives out in Buffalo. Buffalo, I can come out here, and I don't want to get too far away from my salon, but Buffalo's about 15 miles. Right up there it is. So there's times when she went on the floor. She's a new stylist.
And she lives in that area.
She lives in Buffalo.
She resides in Buffalo, so he's now going to do a surgical strike on one of his service providers where she lives to draw her community.
Absolutely. I have a stylist that is an equestrian guru, Bailey. In Medina, out here if I had to target just more specific, this area out in Medina is horse country. It's just the state land and horse country. So there are times, I said when we were chatting prior, that I actually have targeted horse country because Bailey, our stylist, loves horse equestrian. So once a year, twice a year, she heads to Tulsa for 3 weeks to grand champion, all this competition. You bet your butt, when I get a pic of her, I'll post that on our Facebook page and literally say, shout out to Bailey, one of our tribe members. We wish her the best at nationals.
Right.
And I'll take that image, let it go organic for a day or two, and then I'll take that same image. This one is a hair image, but I've taken an image like that, and then I'll boost it out into horse country.
Nice.
So it's lake life, boat lovers. Do you think if I put it right over here, which is maybe about 5 miles away from us, I can put it right on top of Lake Minnetonka?
Wow. So what you're saying is that and this is, I've been doing posting, blogging since 2010, and this is the first time that someone has really taken me to show me how to maximize the use on the target marketing feature when you boost. Most of us know how to boost, but we're hitting, people that like my page and their friends.
Right, because it's easy.
And then the earth drops off, and you're going, no, you're like, you've got a Cray computer here.
Yeah.
You can get it, and this would be, I think, especially pertinent for salon owners that are looking to where do I do surgical strikes in my community, and you're showing how to do this. Now, in the name of time, I want you to now pick one and boost.
Okay, well, I'm going to take this same one. I've got the area. I want to show you one last thing, characteristics. So I can get into, this is where it gets just amazing, is I can look at health and wellness. And I know my brand. So I could spend the rest of the day telling you, people who come into Urban Eve, they tend to be give back. They tend to be spiritual. They tend to be earthy, organic. They have 150,000 household incomes. I could go on about just what I believe is our brand. So now, knowing that, and my muse, I can then start to target people who like beauty salons. I just selected that one.
Right here. Okay,
Yep.
Got it.
People who like health and beauty.
You're just clicking, and it's zeroing in on those demographics.
Mm-hmm. Under interests.
So you went from characteristics, now you're into interest.
Yep. So I can go to, we have a lot of people. We have a spin, like a bicycle spin studio next to us. So I might go to physical fitness, physical exercise. We do have, I know, meditation. Yoga is a big in our market. I'm going to pull out and do maybe shopping and fashion because we have the boutique. Sometimes I'll integrate the two, and I can go into, beauty here. Look under beauty what's here. I've got beauty salons. We sell makeup. I've got hair products. I don't have a spa, and I don't do tattoos, and we don't sell fragrances. But that would be an example of, okay, I'll go ahead and boost it. I would usually spend a little more time crafting a little bit more of this.
Right. But so all of these characteristics you've put together in a specific, highly customized surgical strike, And so now where would it show the list? Like when you go
Yeah.
back, how do you know that it kind of punched in?
Here. So because I told you I already preloaded them, I've
Yes.
got right here CL 13, and I took the time and went through and really built some.
All right, so you've
client
actually
bases.
preloaded all of this.
Yeah, and I'll select one right now, and we'll boost right now as soon as it comes up. So I'm gonna, because it's that hair pick, I'm just gonna stay generic tonight and do I think a core hair base, if it's gonna let us do it. There it is.
Okay, good.
So
Nice.
I'll do just hair core base right there.
Okay.
Now you can see what it's selected. It shows down here, Corcoran, Long Lake, Maple Grove, Medina, Orono, Plymouth,
So these are all of the demographics that you're going, all the areas.
Yep. The age range is 18 to 42. I'm very specific. If you remember the pick, that hair to me is probably not necessarily going to be worn by a 57-year-old female.
Right.
So I also have to connect the picture with the reality of the age that would wear it.
Right.
So 18 to 42, female, and then people who match. Their interests are beauty, hair coloring, hairstyle, hair care, hair products, beauty salon, or balayage. And that's I took the time and kind of preloaded
So this
that.
is when you were showing us this other feature, this is where this shows up here.
Yep.
I love it. I absolutely love this.
And now I can hit done. So what we've done is we've got this image. We've got, and it gives me a choice, get more likes, comments, shares, engage, and chat with I'm going for branding here, getting more likes, comments, and shares. I've selected my hair core base. Now I get to set my budget. So how much money do I want to spend? And I will tell you, it's not very often I spend more than $5 or $10. So just make a note. This isn't, you don't have to have big ad budgets. I told you before this today, I think it's the greatest return on investment ever in the beauty industry. Thank you, Facebook, and thank you, Instagram. But I'll just say we'll throw $5. And I do this a lot, you guys, for my staff. This picture is Riley's pick. So I try to rotate them in and out and spend a little bit of the company's ad budget to really promote this is Riley's pick, and it gives her credit to it. And so $5, this is what I love. It tells me what it's projecting I'm going to reach.
All right.
345 to 1,300 people for $5?
Yeah.
And how many days do I want to do it? I usually, because I do a lot. I do a lot, a little bit of time, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to do it 2 days. Today is Thursday, Friday. And then I've already got my credit card in here, so all I have to do is just boost.
And he's in the game.
And there it went.
Yeah, so most people that hang out on this page, Gav, they know how to boost, but not to this specificity. So what you gave us tonight was huge there. Give it up for Gav, please. Now, so I want to keep track of time. I'm going to have you back when we're going to probably do a special pay-per-view Zoom.com of this. Show us, I know you've got one more best practice called your best new growth practice on Instagram highlights.
Yeah.
You're going to take us there?
Well, everybody knows the stories. I'm gonna showcase a quick story that I preloaded last night. And this is, we use the story for many things. This one would be for promoting hair, and it's promoting each stylist. So a story's just going to continue.
So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is it? 8 5-second shots,
Yep.
like a roving. And these are all. This is Sammy's work.
Yep.
And so this is kind of your own video blog with you're probably featuring what 5, 6 of your people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so why I show you that is because I don't know if it's a new feature, but I think it's the hottest thing right now is once my story is done, which is 24 hours, this story is going to peel away, boom, it's gone. I get to, as an owner, I can add, if
What
you
he's
see
doing is
right here,
Yes.
I'm going to take a story that's already 24 hours, it disappears, and I can load those images. I'm going to load that same story we were looking at.
Right.
And I've got them, and I'm going to title it, we'll just call it Hair for now. And now, boom.
Go ahead and touch it.
Now if I tap that, it's going to play that story. And that will stay there forever until I delete it.
You guys seeing this? You should be watching this until it's like tattooed on your eyelids. This is big. I mean, he's really teaching us how to take much fuller advantage over these features, these very, very powerful features on Instagram.
And why I think this is what I believe about the stories, being out in the field, I'm seeing it, doing a little bit of research on it. But I think the highlights section of Instagram has become the 2018 webpage. I guarantee it today. You can see on the top of this how many profile visits I've had in 7 days. I guarantee this, Michael. I haven't had 197 people go to my website in the last 7 days. No way. So 197 people took the time to not just see a story or scroll by a post, but 197 people said, I want to walk into their, I'm going to call it the Instagram, I want to walk into their platform. I want to go check it out, look at their imagery.
Right.
So why I lead you here is because now that I know 197 people are walking in my Instagram door to come check it out, to me it just raises the anxiety that I have to have good content here. So here's where the highlights come into play.
You just got it. There you go.
Here's where the highlights come into play, and I'll just wrap it up with this, is I think it's super critical now to be diversified with your highlights. So I have a hair highlight. I have a promotion highlight going on right now. And how cool is this? Michael's kid is my sales consultant. Shout out to Peter Cole tonight. So I've got, if I go back, I've got my boutique as its own. I've got my makeup as its own.
So anybody can come and touch any of these buttons, and they're going to see another video slide that's going to live here. It's not going to vaporize. And you're saying this now has transcended the value of your website. You couldn't get the visits on your website that you're getting on this.
I couldn't get the website even. Can you imagine if I had to? Most people can probably laugh and relate. Can you imagine getting all this video content up on the website? I mean, I know some of you might have some amazing websites where you're the content originator, but most of them you got to send the email to the person in charge of the website,
Right.
Send over the video, and I don't think as many people are going to websites anymore today.
Right. No,
I think in the name of searching, they are.
Right.
But my 2 cents on highlights is build your highlight sections. If you come to Urban Eve's highlight section, I'd say in another week to 2 weeks, we actually have icons now that are being graphic designer is. So instead of just seeing this hair pick, you're going to see a hair like an icon. You're going to see a boutique. You're going to see a green circle. So, and they're just going to stay there all the time, that front icon, right. But then we'll change the stories up on the back sides.
Well, listen, first of all, give it up for Gavin. I mean, this is like unbelievable. Now, what I want, he's going to be coming back, and I'm going to be hanging out with him for a couple of weeks. We're going to be going on retreat here for a few days. I'm going to continue to have him mentor you, me, we. I think we're going to even have some conversations about how we can do some Zoom.coming for, kind of private to do, as well as we've got teams of people that are being trained by people like you and Luke. And so that this is where Summit is going as a company with regard to their coaching as it relates to social media.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think, I love that you've put so much time, you put everything you've got into driving the acumen of the stylist's understanding of social. But I think we've got to really, we're all in this together, we've got to make sure that the company brand keeps in step with that stylist development.
Right,
and
right.
You get 1 + 1 equals.
Right. Well, yeah. I think this is
KABOOM.
going to be like 2 to the 10th power. So I'm just going to wrap this up by saying that if you are interested in the Summit social media team, you can get a hold of them by the 800 number, as well as summitsalon.com. Stay close to the Michael Cole Summit page, because we're going to be having Gavin back, and we're going to be doing some other customized things on zoom.com. Come on in with me, my friend. I just want to make sure that you stay in to this. Hang out on the summitsalon.com website. All of our online tools now, we've got our online trackers, we got our online digital calculators. It's all there for you. And as always, we want to thank, L'Oreal PPD. We want to thank Salon Centric. We want to thank State. and RDA for the support, because their support allows us to continue to evolve this. And of course, Summit Salon Business Center, they are the freaking bomb, man. They continue, guys like this continue to take us up to a whole new deal. So we ran over on purpose because this was valuable content. If you liked it, make a content on this, how much you like it, so that we can bring you back more of it. So we're going to say goodnight. It's been a wonderful show. I'm going to give this guy a hug. He's my BFF homie. I knew him way back when. Give it up for him one more time. And have a good evening. We'll talk soon.